What if the only thing standing between the life you have and the life you truly want is fear? Have you ever thought about that? That maybe the reason you feel stuck, unfulfilled, or constantly searching is because you've been avoiding the very thing that could set you free. This isn't just another motivational video. Stay with this till the end, and you'll learn how facing what scares you most might be the key to unlocking the strongest, most alive version of yourself. Every single day, people wake up and go through the motions. Wake up, work, scroll, sleep, repeat. It feels safe, familiar, controlled. But there's something off, a quiet frustration, a voice that whispers, there's more than this, and you know it's true. But instead of chasing that feeling, most people push it down. They stay in the comfort zone because it's easier, because it's not scary. But here's the truth most won't admit: your comfort zone is not your friend, it's your prison. Your brain is designed to keep you safe. It's hardwired to protect you from risk. Thousands of years ago, that meant avoiding predators and surviving harsh conditions. But today, that same brain still treats anything unfamiliar as danger. Starting a business,
Too risky.
speaking up for yourself, too uncomfortable, ending a toxic relationship, too painful. So you stay silent, you settle, you shrink. And every time you do, you teach yourself to believe that you're not capable, that fear is stronger than you, that you can't handle discomfort. That is the real danger. Fear doesn't always show up as panic. Sometimes it hides in excuses. It's not the right time. I don't know enough. What will people think? But underneath those words is one emotion: fear. And the more you avoid it, the louder it gets. Fear grows in silence. And when you make decisions from that place, when you let fear steer your life, you trade growth for safety, purpose for routine, and possibility for regret. But here's what most people never realize: that fear you feel, it's not a signal to stop. It's a map, a compass. It's showing you where your life actually begins. And everything you've ever wanted, confidence, fulfillment, freedom, lives right past the edge of comfort. That's where your potential wakes up. That's where your real story starts. So if you feel that tightness in your chest, that nervous energy in your stomach when you think about doing something bold, good. That means it matters. That means you're standing at the doorway of growth. And you have two options: step back into safety or step forward into strength. If you're still watching, that means part of you is ready. Ready to stop running. Ready to stop playing small. And if you keep watching till the end, you'll discover the exact shift that flips fear from something that controls you into something that drives you. Because once you understand this, fear loses its power, and your life, it finally begins. Let me take you there. Keep going. Fear isn't the enemy. It's misunderstood. Most people think fear means stop. It feels heavy, overwhelming, and paralyzing. But what if fear is actually trying to guide you, not block you? Think about it. Why would your heart race when you're about to speak up? Why does your stomach twist before taking a big leap? It's not always a warning. It's energy. It's the body waking up, preparing. Fear shows up when something important is on the line. That's not weakness. That's purpose calling your name. The mind doesn't fear failure. It fears the unknown. That's what it's really trying to protect you from. Something unfamiliar, something uncertain. But here's the thing: everything you want is currently unknown to you. You've never lived it. You've never experienced that version of yourself. So if your goal is to grow, then fear is part of the path. It's not a detour. It's not a mistake. It's built into the road that leads to a better life. Your brain is wired to create patterns. It finds comfort in routine. It wants to predict outcomes so it can feel in control. That's why when you try something new, fear kicks in. It's your brain saying, I don't know what happens next, so let's just stay here. But that instinct, if left unchecked, becomes a trap. It makes you believe that fear means danger, when in reality, it often just means change. And change is exactly what you need. When you ignore fear and stay in comfort, your world shrinks. Slowly, you say no to more things. You make excuses that sound logical but feel hollow. You convince yourself that your dreams were unrealistic, that you don't have what it takes, that maybe some people are just meant for more, and you're not. That's not the truth. That's fear doing its job too well. It's keeping you small, safe, hidden, but also frustrated, empty, and deep down you feel it. Here's a shift that will change your life. Stop asking how to get rid of fear, and start asking what it's trying to show you. Fear is a mirror. It reflects your deepest desires. You're scared to start the business because you care about it. You're afraid to speak up because your voice matters. You hesitate to go after your dream because deep down it means everything to you. That's not something to run from. That's something to run toward. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite it. Psychologists have found that people who regularly face fear develop higher levels of resilience, confidence, and satisfaction in life. Because every time you walk through fear, you rewire your brain. You tell it, I'm capable, and the more you do it, the stronger that identity becomes. Fear doesn't shrink, but your belief in yourself expands. So when fear shows up, don't ask, how do I escape this? Ask, what would happen if I face this? Because that question leads to power. It leads to clarity. It leads to the real you, not the version shaped by doubt, but the one built in courage. Every fear is a doorway. And behind it, that's where your next level lives. You don't find out who you are when things are easy. You discover your identity when you're standing in fear, heart racing, hands shaking, and you move forward anyway. That's when the real you shows up. Not the version shaped by opinions or expectations, but the one built in the fire of discomfort. You become the kind of person you admire, not by thinking, not by planning, but by doing the thing that terrifies you. Confidence doesn't arrive before the action. It's a reward for taking the action. Most people wait until they feel ready. They wait for a time when the fear disappears, when the doubt quiets down. But that time never comes. The people who win in life are the ones who move with fear, not without it. They feel the same resistance you do, but they know something you haven't learned yet. Your fear is a sign that your identity is about to evolve. Discomfort is where your strength is born. Your self-respect grows every time you do what you said you'd do, especially when it's hard. Psychology proves this. When you keep commitments to yourself, even small ones, your brain begins to trust you. And when you trust yourself, you build real confidence, not arrogance, not fake motivation, but solid, quiet belief that you can handle whatever comes your way. That kind of confidence is earned, not gifted. You can't read your way into courage. You can't watch your way into strength. You've got to step into it. That moment you hit record on the camera, even though your voice shakes. That moment you apply for the job, even though you don't feel qualified. That moment you say the truth you've been holding back for years. That's when your character takes shape. That's when your future starts changing. Discomfort is not something to escape, it's something to use. Every challenge you face becomes a tool for your growth. Every hard decision you make becomes a part of your foundation. The more you lean into fear, the more unshakable you become. Not because life gets easier, but because you get better, stronger, sharper, more alive. When you avoid discomfort, you settle into an identity that's not yours. You become who the world told you to be. But when you walk into discomfort, you strip away what's false. You learn what you're really made of. You discover your resilience, your grit, your power. And over time, you don't just believe in yourself. You become undeniable. So stop asking who you are. Start deciding. Decide through action. Decide through the choices you make when it's hard. That's where identity is forged. Not in the moments when it's easy, but in the moments when everything inside you wants to quit. And you keep going anyway. That's how leaders are born. That's how legends are made. That's how you become someone even you are proud to follow. There is a cost to fear that most people never calculate. Not the quick jolt of anxiety, not the racing heart or sweaty palms. The real cost is much quieter. It creeps in over time. It's the opportunities missed, the dreams postponed, the life unlived. When you avoid fear, you're not just playing it safe. You're paying a price. And that price is your potential. Every time you choose comfort over courage, a part of you shrinks. That big idea you once had, it fades. That voice inside you that used to speak boldly, it gets quieter. Until one day you wake up and wonder, how did I get here? You didn't make one big mistake. You made 1,000 small ones. Every not now, every what if it goes wrong, every time you talked yourself out of trying, it adds up. And the sum of it all, regret. Regret is heavier than fear. Psychology shows that what haunts people the most isn't failure. It's inaction. It's the moments they didn't take the chance, didn't speak their truth, didn't go after what mattered. Because deep down, they knew what they were capable of. But fear convinced them to stay still, and stillness turned into stagnation, and stagnation turned into a life they didn't recognize. Avoiding fear might feel safe in the moment, but it steals your future. It robs you of growth, passion, purpose. It keeps you stuck in cycles, relationships that don't fulfill you, jobs that drain you, routines that numb you, and worst of all, it tricks you into thinking that's all there is. But it's not. There's more. There's always been more. You just stopped looking because fear made you believe you didn't deserve it. Here's the painful truth. If you wait for fear to disappear, you'll wait forever. It doesn't go away, but it does get weaker every time you move toward it. And if you don't, it grows stronger, more convincing, more controlling. And one day, it won't just hold you back. It will define who you are. Someone who wanted more but never reached for it. You were not meant to play small. You were not built to tiptoe through life hoping nothing breaks. You were made to stretch, to fall, to rise again. Playing it safe will never fulfill you. It might keep you alive, but it won't make you feel alive. And that difference between existing and living is everything. You have to decide what matters more, staying comfortable or living fully. Because you can't have both. Comfort feels good now. Growth feels good forever. One keeps you in place. The other moves you forward. One tells you to wait. The other dares you to leap. And if you keep choosing fear, life will keep passing you by. This isn't about being reckless. It's about being real about what you want, real about what scares you, real about what's at stake if you keep hiding. You don't need permission to change. You need courage. Because the cost of fear isn't just time. It's your one and only life. You already know what you need to do. It's the thing that keeps showing up in your mind. The thing that both excites and terrifies you. The idea you push down because it feels too big, too risky, too uncertain. But deep inside, a part of you knows. That's the direction. That's the door you haven't walked through. And everything you want is waiting right behind it. You don't need more time. You don't need more information. You need to decide. Decide to move toward the fear instead of away from it. Because the longer you wait, the heavier it gets. Fear doesn't fade with time. It tightens its grip. But the moment you take that first step, everything changes. Not because the fear disappears, but because you prove to yourself that it doesn't own you. Fear loses power when you face it, not before. Not by thinking. Not by planning. Only by doing. The action might be small, but the shift inside is massive. You start to realize you're capable of more than you believed. You start to see that the wall in front of you was just a shadow, and you've been walking in circles around your own limitations. It's not about being fearless, it's about being honest. Honest enough to admit what you want. Honest enough to say you're scared. Honest enough to show up anyway. That's what courage really is. Not a loud roar, but a quiet step in the right direction. Every time you do that, you take back control. You stop waiting for perfect. You stop needing approval. You stop asking if you're ready and start becoming the person who's ready for anything. The most powerful version of you exists on the other side of discomfort. That version has the energy, the focus, the clarity you're missing right now. But you'll never meet them by staying where you are. You've got to move. You've got to leap. You've got to do the thing that scares you, even when it doesn't make sense to anyone else, because it makes sense to you. That leap you're avoiding, it holds everything you've been looking for: confidence, growth, meaning, peace. Not because it's easy, but because it's real. Fear tries to keep you safe. But if you're always safe, you're never free. And you weren't born just to survive. You were born to rise, to stretch, to become. So run toward what scares you. Let fear be your fuel, not your cage. Let it wake something inside you that's been asleep for too long. Let it challenge your limits and remind you that you are not done yet. Not even close. One decision. One action. That's all it takes to begin rewriting your story. Don't wait for the fear to go away. Move while it's still there. Because when you run toward what scares you, that's where your life begins.